Can give it going all the way. Life is hard. Remember, the situation always change, but we can't take back. I'm not ready. I don't wanna play this game, 'cause we're not to get through. So we don't have to stay the same. It's just been.
Saturn's reign. I'm going to want Sharon to talk about that too. But look what she says. With a new breed of men sent down from heaven, only do thou at the boy's birth, now she starts focusing on who's coming, at the boy's birth, in whom the iron, or the Iron Age, shall cease, the golden race arise.
Tremendous kind of peace in war times. All right, so this part is called the golden races arises. So we're going to break down what the prophecies really supposed to be saying versus what was written in 37 BCE. So we're making it known what the prophecy really means. All right. Listen to sound right reason. My Jupiter's nephew, King Noone, with my guidance, has connected the dots from these prophecies back to ancient Kemet, Egypt. The golden race is the black African race. However, in this prediction are those who follow Noone science. Listen to reason. Of course, Noone is knowledge, science, like this volume, and NoopooH is the sound right reason energy, who inspired and inspires the writings of AFROO, the physical author and writer of this book, and reveals the correct information in Noone, of which this written work is part. Nature reasoning is a rather long word, so it is easier to use the translation of the title Nature Reasoning, which is NoopooH, pronounced NoopooH, as already given in this topic. Hence it stands to reason that anyone who studies, learns, understands, accepts, propagates, promulgates, advocates, and practices Noone is a NoopooH. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. Nature, Book 1, pages 262. It was Mary Noone, who Noone science bears his name, is from her. Mary Mercury Noone is from the chaotic waters of primordial creation. Nu is the deification of the primordial watery abyss in the Hermopolitan Ogdoad cosmogony of ancient Egyptian religion. Nu is one of the 8 deities of the Ogdoad, representing ancient Egyptian primordial chaos from which the primeval mound appears. Noone is the deity personifying the primordial watery abyss in ancient Egyptian religion. Noone can be seen as, first of all, the gods and the creator of reality. Noone is also considered the god that would destroy existence and return everything to Noone from whence it came. No cult was addressed to Noone. The consort of Noone was the goddess Noonette. Wikipedia. Origin myth. The ancient Egyptian envisioned the oceanic abyss of the Noone as surrounding a bubble in which the spear of life is encapsulated, representing the deepest mystery of their cosmogony. In ancient Egyptian creation accounts, the original amount of land comes from the waters of Noone. The Noone is the source of all that appears in a differentiated world, encompassing all aspects of divine and earthly existence. In the Ennead cosmogony, Noone is perceived as transcendent at the point of creation alongside Atun, the creator god. Listen to Mary Mercury sound right reason. I, Mary, am the second of the Ennead Passenger, 9 O's planets of original creation. Here you have Ray, which is the sun, Mercury, which is Noone, Vena, which is Noonette, Earth, which is Kek, Mars is Keket, Jupiter is Hair, Saturn is He-Het, Uranus is Amun, and Neptune is Amunet. We, the 9 oars, all came from the 9 ether chaotic waters of Nu or Noone. The word Noone is the science of NoopooH. The word Nooneboo is 2 sounds or words put together, as I, Mary Mercury, stated before. Nebu means gold in ancient hieroglyphics. The Egyptian symbol for gold, Nebu, is a collar with beads along the lower edge. Gold has long been associated with the gods and royalty. This imperishable metal reflects the brilliance of the sun and hope of eternal life. Isis and Nephthys, 2 of the goddesses who protected the dead, are often shown kneeling on the gold sign at the ends of royal coffins. Gold, Nebu, appearance. The hieroglyph for gold represents a golden collar with beads on its lower edge and hanging ends, meaning gold was considered by the ancient Egyptians to be divine and indestructible metal. It was associated with the brilliance of the sun. The sun god Re was called the Mountain of Gold, and during the Old Kingdom, the pharaoh was called the Golden Horse. The skin of the deities believed to be golden. The royal tomb was called the House of Gold during the New Kingdom, and Isis and Nephthys were often depicted on the ends of sarcophagi, kneeling on the hieroglyphs meaning gold. Listen to Mary Mercury's sound right reason. Jupiter, Jupiter, as well as myself, Mary Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Saturn, Mars, were all identified as Horus, Heru, or Herakti in ancient Kemet, Egypt. Listen to reason. The mental spirit gods controlling the localities in the universe are as follows. The sun gods, the visual spirit powers of the true stars of the universe, and they are countless together with their consort goddesses. The sun god on planet Earth is called by various names by various peoples and different ethnic races by the names Ra, Re, Amun-Ra, Re, Herakti, Uranus, Ta, Jupiter, Helios, Horus, Elyon, Brahma, Phoebus, Damballa, Eli, as in the Caucasian Bible. Eli is short for Helios, and Elyon, Marduk, Allah, Zeus, etc. The sun gods and god sons, the physical suns themselves, are 9 ether powers during the top half of order circle and 6 ether powers during the bottom half of the same circle. The sun gods and goddesses are the sun gods and goddesses are coordinated and kept united by the physical suns, the god sons themselves, by way of the brain newts, gods and goddesses already given in this caption. Brain newts cause matter to be magical and magnetic when conditions are right for unity and creativity. Let it be remembered, always let it be known. So once again, we're coming back to the sun gods, which we know that is Jupiter here. Nature, Book 2, page 146. For all intents and purposes, the true Horus is Jupiter, and Saturn, Saturn, because they are indeed gas giants made up of the same elements as our sun Ripu. Remember it as well. Which brings us always back to the fact that I, Jupiter, must always make it plain on my Jupiter relationship with the Eye of Horus as its true representation. So here you can see Jupiter, which we finna get into this right here. This eye is what they was calling it. Picture altered by Quiraupu. Listen to Jupiter sound right reasoning. What Egyptologists and others have it all wrong. The eye is actually my Jupiter's womb. This is the picture of Jupiter, or female sun. Gas field, stomach, ovaries. Because this is the top view. And we're here, what people don't realize, this is the red light. This is the red spot on Jupiter. That's where it comes out at. Because what it is like I told you, looking at the top of the female star cut this way, not cut in half. It's from the top. And see, you can see the little red, that big red spot. When you look at a regular picture of Jupiter, that is this right here. Just so y'all know. Nature Book 2, page 43. I am a ball of gases, ether spirits. I help our husband NoopooH keep order in the top half as well as the bottom half. This is why the nature book says the suns are the true stars. If it wasn't another lesser type of stars like myself, that statement would not have been made. I would be considered a helper spirit orb, much like a helper spirit on earth, but with greater power. If it wasn't another lesser type of stars like myself, that statement would have not been made. Let this be known. Allah, etc. The sun gods and god sons, the physical suns themselves, are 9 ether powers doing the top half of the order circle and 6 ether powers doing the bottom half of the same circle. The sun gods and goddesses are coordinated and kept united by the physical suns, the god sons themselves, by way of the brain Noop gods and goddesses already given in this caption. Brain Noops cause matter to be encoded. Read carefully. The sons in Noone are called the god sons. It is they who keep the sun gods and goddesses like myself united, meaning not losing our hydrogen, changing to helium functions. There is a difference between sun gods and god sons. Here is the gematria. Side note, the 9s in these gematриas represent the 9th zodiac house of Utah Jupiter. Here you see Jupiter and Horus comes out to 9. The eye of AFROO comes out to 9. Jupiter's womb, all 9s. Jupiter's eye, all 9s. Horus's womb, all 9s. Tremendous kind of peace and wartime.
This is going back to the Atlantean scheme. A race of God-men ruling over the earth at the end of time. The golden race arise. Now she says who he is. Befriend him, chaste Lucina. 'Tis thine own Apollo reigns. So now we know who it is coming to reign over the earth. Now look what she says about him. He shall receive the life of gods and see heroes with gods commingling. This is literally the second coming of the Nephilim. This is what the Watchers did. Heroes and gods commingling, and himself be seen of them, and with his father's worth or power, Jupiter's power, reign over the world. Assume thy greatness, for the time draws nigh, dear child of gods, great progeny of Jove or Jupiter. See how it totters the world's orbed might, earth and wide ocean, and the vault profound, all see enraptured of the coming time.
Alright, so this particular portion of the video, we're going to explain on what he was saying, that Apollo, which is really OONOO, will receive the life of the gods, meaning live a long time. So we're going to go into that, and what I already dealt with this in the NoopooH Revelation Interpretation Chapter 2, me and Auntie Utah, which I quoted from this book you can find on FindThatNews.com as well. That me and Auntie Utah did this in 3 days, March 27th to March 30th of this year. Alright, so we're going to deal with this particular quote. Alright, so we're going to go to verse 4 in Revelation chapter 22. Alright, so we're going to go to verse 4. And verse 4 actually deals with this. Just one verse, and pretty interesting. Alright. So it says here, and they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. Explanation. AFROO will be seen in human form with NoopooH 9 mind incarnated within him. The people will know who he is or who she is depending on the gender of the ruler. Listen to reason. The physical representative, the king or queen, must be a role model who sets the record and proper example for others by adhering to Noone and the laws thereof. Since NoopooH and Noone are the true and real God, the ruler, king or queen, is the leader in accord with the God. The foremost purpose of the ruler is to maintain for himself and all other members of the kingdom society the fulfillment of the constitution of the kingdom and ask decisions of society together with his or her helpers. The ruler is the physical god or goddess, the physical primate, prelate, highest priest, and the physical sole ruler, the king or queen, who is the personification and incarnation of NoopooH, the ultimate ruler in almighty absolute nature. The physical ruler must be elected by the people of society every 9 years or removed from power before the 9-year term is up if he or she deviates from the guide, Noone, and its commandment laws. Introduction to the Nature, Book 2, page 211 in part. Listen to reason. 56. Whereas the economic system of the African Noone Kingdom must be equalism, the political system of the kingdom must be spiritual Noone and headed by the elected physical king representing the mental, spiritual king, NoopooH nature, the same way each time their conditions are the same. The true physical, visible God for the members of the African Noone Kingdom, Tank, is the positive philosophy, science Noone written by AFROO, the herald and pioneer of the new kingdom of almighty nature on planet Earth, which is the new order, person, and things. The physical representative, the physical king or queen of the African Noone Kingdom, can be any eligibly qualified member of the Ethiopian race who is willing and ready to uphold the constitution of the kingdom. The constitution is Noone and the commandment laws therein. The elected ruler may be male or female. Let it be remembered always, and let it be known. Introduction to the Nature, Book 2, page 211. This option will be open for every human for the next 18 million years, especially if any person becomes an incarnation of an original spirit god while ruling the African Noone Kingdom. Listen to reason. The only beings without a doubt who have everlasting eternal existence are infinite space, infinite matter, and infinite time, because they never had beginning and can never end, even if they wanted to. All forms and formals of almighty nature have beginning and must end eventually. As for eternal life in human beings, there is no life after death of the physical body, as explained in an earlier knowledge booklet written by AFROO, the messenger and scribe for NoopooH and Noone. In order to definitely determine for sure whether there could be life after death of the physical body, one must be able to definitely determine for sure what life is, and the presentation booklets written by AFROO defines and describes life and death. However, if a human being becomes an incarnation of an original spirit god and goddess who has eternal life, it is indeed possible for that spirit god or goddess to maintain the personality and also memories of that person that he and she are incarnate in the flesh and blood of. If this happens, the human being is said to have eternal life because his or her personality and memories will be kept alive until the smart circular order reaches 0.6 east. That's 18 million years from now, on the horizon of existence. Let it be remembered. Introduction to the Nature, Book 2, page 100. So this is what the corrected version of that. If you are an incarnation of a spirit god or goddess, they will keep your personality, what makes you you, and your memories alive for the next 18 million years. And that will be considered eternal, because in the bottom half and the top half, eternity, infinity, all that stuff still have a limited duration. Just like AFROO just stated, only space at time is eternal forever, because they never have a beginning or end. But everything else that has a formula, meaning made up of something, whether it's gases, spirits, humans, animals, planets, stars, satellites, any type of energy, debris, comets, whatever that is made up of something in existence, has beginning and ending, that would be considered non-eternal. Okay, only space, matter, and time will continuously exist. All right, so that clears up what he was saying about the prophecy of Apollo having the lifespan. And it's not just AFROO. Those of us who become incarnate at that point before death, which is the ultimate goal, is to be able to keep being born again with your personality and memory intact. For those of us who are following Noone, who are taking your turpentine and your sulfur regularly and saying your NoopooHs and your memorandum without fail, without not allowing yourself to be used and blocked by your spirit or others, this is what you want. This is what the book of Revelation talk about receiving the crown of life. It's talking about having the crown represent what a crown fits on your head, but it's symbolic of your brain, your mind, your personality, and your memories. That's really getting your crown, where you can take it with you, like you going from life to life, like a video game. You be with the spirit God or goddess will be able to basically be that saving point for you, where you can save your memory and your personality and go on to the next body as for the next 18 million years. So I hope that clears that up. True mental calm, peace, and war times.
It's a Flavor Boy exclusive.